So it's easy to forget which way you're going if we don't often have a review. So today I want to go over some things that we've talked about in the past, but I want to make sure that you understand specifics. And here's why. Because there are so many advantages to you actually. So I know you've owned your a portion of your corporation for a long time. But here's the part that nobody tells you about. When you are opening up a new chapter at 40 plus, 50 plus, 60 plus, there comes a moment often after 40 when life invites us to step into a deeper level of purpose. That's where you are. You've gathered wisdom, resilience, clarity, and all of this you can teach. Yeah. You've got clarity that only time can teach. Yeah. That's specific to you. 40 plus, 50 plus, 60 plus. And now you're standing in that perfect intersection of experience and opportunity. And I know we've gone over a lot of things, but again, I want to step into some things that people don't typically tell you about. Starting or expanding your business at this stage isn't just a possibility. You've seen that it's a possibility because we have moved into quite a bit of things to move you into that direction. And it's so powerful. So today I want to show you how your next chapter can be your most profitable, most fulfilling, and most influential yet. So if you're ready to grow, then I'm going to guide you. You know, we've been walking through several different steps, but I want to guide you every step of the way into moving you into this next portion of your corporate growth. So the first thing we want to talk about is the hidden power, that hidden power move that a lot of entrepreneurs overlook. And I know that when you and I initially started, it was one of the moves that you had overlooked. And this power move is understanding why C corporations quietly win the long game. When we talk about the long game, we can use any form of um, of business operating to set you up. Yeah, any form would work, right? But in this case, because we're setting you up for longevity, it's wiser to set you up as a C corporation. And again, we're going to go over a lot of the reasons why building you up or setting you up as a C corporation is the wisest move. So, if you're prepared to continue to move forward with me, we're going to move into some of those things today because I want to review them before we go forward. Because it's real easy to forget. If we're just going through the motions, you'll forget some of the things that we had established in the past, some of the reasoning that we established in the past. And you need that. It needs to be a fundamental foundation in your thoughts so that as you go forward with the planning, it's not a question of, well, why are we doing it this way? You know, because people, after you've gotten established, people will come and question some of the decisions that you make. So I want to make sure that you're solidified in your understanding of why we've made certain moves because now we're getting ready to move into a different plateau. I'm going to show you. So I know you didn't get a chance to go forward with that property that you had. Now, this part of the teaching is specifically for an individual that I have that I'm working with, well, a couple of individuals that I'm working with who are purchasing property through their company name. One of you, we were working with tax certificates. Well, in your situation, the owner paid the delinquent taxes on that property. So, of course, you got the money that you invested in the tax certificate along with a substantial amount of interest for that short period of time and that small amount of investment. However, you do own another piece of property. And what I want to do is walk you through the benefits of setting up your C corporation for a long game win so that you'll understand the significance of the piece of property that you do own, the piece of land that you do own, and how you can use it to leverage. Okay. So, firstly, again, I know that you're serious about building a business that grows beyond you. So one of the things that's important about a C corporation is that it sets you up to attract investors and to scale without limits. How do I know? Because over the years, we've had to sell shares. And the way that we were able to sell shares to vetted investors is that were introduced to boutique brokerages. Along the way, they were called different type of brokerages. They weren't called boutique brokerages. Now they're called boutique brokerages because they cater to non-public corporations. Yeah, non-public corporations. We're not listed on the U.S. Stock Exchange, and yet we're able to sell our stock. And boutique brokerages typically have a list of vetted investors that they can introduce your product to, introduce your company to, and those companies will be willing to purchase stock and share in some of the vested interest in your company so that you will have capital to get things done. We've done that over the years. I prefer that to business credit because with business credit, of course, you have to be in a position that you're able to pay that back. And normally it's going to be at a higher rate, or if not a higher rate, it'll be at a swifter rate, paying it off swifter than you would a typical installment loan. But if you're selling your shares to raise stock, then there's no repayment involved, just a matter of keeping your shareholders involved with understanding what's going on, and also regular payment of dividends and reporting to them. So that's a far cry different from business credit, which is something we also course, and we walk you through how we were able to obtain business credit. But between the two, I prefer the boutique brokerage and the selling of stock, shares of stock. But this book, Easy Corporate Comprehensive Curriculum for New Business Owners, is what you can pick up on Amazon.com, and it will teach you all of the things that we're showing in this course. Now, a lot of the things that we show in the course will not be in the book because we expound on certain things that are in the book. We may just give the heading or the subtitle in the book, and then we expound on it in the class. And in some cases, we go down a rabbit hole of the teaching of that course. So we teach all the aspects of that portion of the course that you may not find in the book. So it's wiser to not only enroll in the class, but it's good to also have the book and vice versa. One of the things that attract investors and scales without limits and positions you for generational impact, then you'll understand the structure of high growth companies and what they rely on when you are vested in a C corporation. Most entrepreneurs choose a business entity based on what feels simple today and not what builds wealth for tomorrow. And of course, everything that we teach has to do with building wealth for tomorrow. And the reason why we do that is because that's what we've experienced. We were able to raise our children for years, so for several decades, with using the corporations that we formed back in the 90s, and we still operate those. Matter of fact, we have others that we pay to operate a large portion of those corporations for us so that we don't have to have our hands on the day-to-day operations. And what we want to show you at 40 plus, 50 plus, 60 plus is how you can do that. Okay, so when you understand how a C corporation actually works, and we've already gone, and the reason why we jump right into the C corporation, because in the book we talk all about how you can operate your business under any type of business structure, whether it be LLC, whether it be a partnership, a sole proprietorship, a S corporation. We explain those things in the book and how they differ from the C corporation. So today we're just reviewing, because a lot of you have decided to structure your company based on a C corporation. So we're addressing those things and why you chose to do that. It's a reminder of why you chose to do that. All right. So what you'll find is some of the most powerful companies with longevity chose to set themselves up as a C corporation. It's not by accident. It was by strategy. One of the strategic advantages of being set up as a C corporation is that you can turn that double taxation into a wealth building weapon. Yeah, C corporation faces double taxation, but what most business owners and businesses see as a disadvantage is really a sophisticated way for founders to recognize a strategic advantage. So let me show you what I mean. All right, so when we walk through setting up your corporation, we set up your minutes, we set up your management structure so that it's separate from the ownership. All right, so what we do is we create a type of leverage for tax advantages when we set you up in that way. One, let's talk about retained earnings for growth. So a C corporation can keep profits inside the company. Yeah, profits inside the company, and these profits are untaxed to shareholders. So this is a way for you to fuel and profit your expansion and your research and development and acquisitions and long-term scaling. And at the same time, that's not a tax to your shareholders. Now, remember, when you're doing an LLC, all of your income passes through your personal taxes. So that there's no way to shelter any type of the funds. All of it is taxed because there's no way to set up untaxed revenue to your shareholders. All right, another thing. So anything that you retain in the company for expansion, your shareholders are not taxed on that. So if you decide that you're going to retain the dividends and you're not going to pay them out this year, you're going to retain them for operating or for expansion, your shareholders are going to get taxed for that. So a lot of people think that the more profitable your corporation is, the more taxation your shareholders will suffer. That's not true, because as long as you're retaining that revenue in the company for operating, they are not being taxed on that. So another benefit is a deductible benefit that reduces the tax burden. Health insurance, retirement plans, fringe benefits are deductibles to the corporation and not taxable to the employees. This is another strategic compensation. Yeah, so you can actually provide your employees with a percentage of their health insurance payment or or a certain amount towards their retirement plans or even other fringe benefits, EAP programs. And these things are deductible to the corporation, so they're not taxable to the employee, and the company can deduct them. It's another strategic compensation so that neither the shareholders of the corporation or the employees are taxed for this income. It's considered income because it's a paid benefit to the employees. It's deductible to the corporation because it is, again, a paid benefit to the employees. All right, so when we look at that flat rate of 21% of corporate tax, this is another benefit once you understand how it works. All right, so, and the benefit is for a high income owners, this can be significantly lower than individual tax rates, giving C corporations a built-in tax advantage. So you've got a lot of people, investors specifically, or even owners of companies they have high income, but the corporation is being taxed at a flat rate of 21%. Yeah, yes, yes. And when we're not on camera, I'll show you how to benefit from that so that all they pay is that 21% corporate tax. All right, so flexible fiscal year. So unlike S corporations, C corporations can choose a fiscal year that aligns with the business's cycle and cash flow patterns. So you don't have to keep your fiscal year at 12 months from the date that you started. You can set up your fiscal year so that it aligns with your business cycle or your cash flow patterns. You can choose it based on strategic planning for your taxes. So when we look at all of these advantages when it comes to taxes and a type of leverage, a real life leverage that you can get with a fundamental leverage that you can get with a C corporation, it's not just taxation. When you start looking at it, it's really tax strategy when you choose the long game of a C corporation, because we're talking about longevity. So anybody can form. And people say you can form a corporation. It's real easy. LLC, bam, bam, bam. But they're not thinking about, okay, now all the income that the corporation makes has to pass through my personal taxes. So when I do that form, I can add a Schedule C, yeah, but it's still going through my personal taxes. There are a lot of tax benefits and strategies that won't be, or growth strategies that won't be available to me. Oh, well, we can do an S corporation. It'll be better for you. Yeah, but it's going to limit the amount of the investors. And we'll talk about that. So when we start talking about the scalability of a C corporation, they're built based on your vision. So I'm talking to quite a few of you today. I mentioned a couple of you, even though I didn't mention you by name. I mentioned some of your situations in terms of your corporate structure and some things that we're working on in your company to let you know that I am listening to you and I do have you in mind when I set up these teachings. So I got makeup on my shirt. I'm trying to cover it up with my hair. That's so funny. If your business goals include raising capital or attracting investors or going public, then the C Corporation is the only structure designed to support that level of growth. Okay? And that's the part that I want you to remember because when people are talking to you, they're talking about what works for them, but they don't know what your long-term growth is. And sometimes you can't give them your vision because your vision has a time frame to transition from level to level in terms of growth that they may not understand. So when we're talking about ownership and growth benefits, unlimited shareholders, including foreign investors, and can't do that with an S corporation. And when you're dealing with LLC, there's no stock that you work with at all. Multiple classes of stock that you can utilize in a C corporation. You can use preferred shares. You give voting rights to common stockholders and complex equity structures. Yeah, so because you've got convertible calls. It, you've got some ways that they can benefit in terms of the different type of stock that you offer, and also IPO ready structures. That's when the investor can actually set up the company so that venture capital and private equity firms prefer to work with the C corporation because what they're looking at is the way that the company is governed. And that's what we're about to talk about now. Operational strength, the structure that supports legacy. See, when we're dealing with an S corporation or LLC or a partnership, independent sole proprietorship, they can grow, but C corporations can scale, and it's a difference. Yeah. So a C corporation offers a level of governance, control, and continuity, continuance in terms of existence that other entities they can't match, they can't support. So when we look at the operational advantages, there's a way that it's set up so that it's formally governed. That means it separates ownership from management. That's ideal when you're looking to set things up so that someone else can take over the company. When you're looking at succession or expansion, it's got the best infrastructure for that. Perpetual existence. As long as you keep that company open and you don't dissolve it, it will continue to exist as long as you're meeting certain criteria. In some places, you need to report annually, and in some places, you'll need to submit your business privilege tax. But as long as you're doing that, then there is perpetual existence regardless of the ownership changes. You just need to report those changes in the ownership. It's easier to transfer the shares. It's easier to transfer the shares for liquidity, for estate planning, for investor movement. Oh my God. Much easier. And it also supports complex operations and regulatory environments. Yeah. This is a structure that's built for companies that intend to last and to grow. And you can scale up and scale down and still keep your structure. It's important that you choose the right type of entity. whether it's an S corporation, an LLC, a partnership, a sole proprietorship, they all have their place and they all can be beneficial. They all offer simplicity and pass through taxation and flexibility. And they're perfect for smaller operations or businesses with limited growth goals. But if you know that you intend for your company to have longevity and to grow, if your vision includes significant capital that you're going to need to raise, not necessarily through business credit, which is okay, but through actually selling of shares, building a company that outlives you, attracting institutional investors, structuring equity for partners and employees and other shareholders, preparing for acquisition. Not necessarily an IPO, but some companies do move on to IPO, but you can sell your shares even if you're not a public corporation. You can prepare your company for acquisition on a larger scale in this way. This means a C corporation isn't just an option. If you're interested or if your vision includes any of those things that I've mentioned, then it's essential. So here's what you want to do. If you're ready to build your business structure and you haven't already done this, I want you to consider building a structure that's going to match your vision. And if anyway this has opened your eyes, then imagine what you'll gain if we go from here to deeper and deeper. Now, some of you, like the ones that I've already addressed specifically, you know I'm speaking to you, and others of you that'll be looking at this. This is a refresher to you, reminding you why you set up your structure as a C corporation, reminding you what you can do with that structure and the direction that we're supposed to be going in building your structure. Don't get lost in the process of, well, I've already formed my company, or don't get lost in the operations of your company and you forget to set up the structure. Yeah. Don't get lost in that. But if you haven't joined the or become a member of our school or of our classes, then I invite you right now. If this has opened your eyes, I want you to imagine what you'll gain from going deeper. And then I want you to take the very first step, and that is to order this book, Easy Corporate Comprehensive Curriculum for New Business Owners. When you order this book, it's going to help you unlock the full blueprint for choosing, structuring, scaling your business for the right way from day one so that you don't have to go in and change anything. All right? So what you'll be doing is building on that structure. That's the first thing you want to do. Get the book, because that's going to unlock the full blueprint for choosing the type of structure and scaling your business. Then secondly, I want you to register for the class. Join the live training where I break down entity selection, tax strategy, growth planning in a way that empowers you to make confident wealth building decisions. And then step 3, I want you to subscribe. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. Subscribe to wherever you see me on a social media platform. Stay connected weekly for insights, for tools, for strategies that help you build your clarity and confidence and purpose. So a lot of you have already enrolled in the class and you've been taking the class, specifically some of those who I've talked about in this recording. But one of the things that you haven't done is you haven't subscribed to the YouTube channel. You want to subscribe to the YouTube and to every social media platform where you see me. You want to go in and you want to set up your school membership, because we're going to be meeting a lot on the platform of school. Go ahead and set up your school membership. I've sent you a link. I'm going to send you another one. You want to go ahead and set that up, because these are things that are being offered to you and there's no charge for them. There's no charge for the information that's being shared. There's no charge for the people that we're bringing on board to speak to you guys. Yeah. This is going to help you build with clarity, confidence, and purpose. Your business deserves a structure that supports your destiny, not one that limits it. So let's build it together. Yeah, it's important that we do this now and that we do it together. I'm hoping that this has been a benefit to you. We're going to come back and we're going to talk some more specifically about other things that we've gleaned in this. This is just the surface, just the beginning. And I did it this way for people who have never taken the course, so that not only would people who are in the course remember why we structured it this way, remember a lot of the benefits for growth and for tax strategies, for longevity, for scaling. Just a reminder of why you are a C corporation and the benefits of what you can do with being a C corporation. The benefit of being able to set yourself up so that you can sell shares for raising capital and not have to borrow money. Now, business credit is great, but what if you could secure the capital without borrowing the money? Depending on how much capital you need, sometimes you can get involved with investors that will be willing to purchase your shares. And you don't even have to do that yourself. Once we set up your private placement memorandum package, then we can present you to a boutique brokerage and they can solicit investors that are vetted and set up an event to present your company and its stock. Oh, yeah. You're in for a treat. So go ahead and register. Go ahead and like and subscribe and join our school. And by all means, if you haven't gotten this, pick this up on Amazon.com. Easy Corporate Comprehensive Curriculum for New Business Owners. And what you see behind me is the second edition. We've been working with this book for quite a while now, teaching quite a few people and getting them set up. And what I'm going to do is start bringing them on as testimonials. But until then, I want you to know we've got the second edition. That's can you see that behind me? Yeah, it should be an image right behind me. That's an image of the second edition of the book. I think it's directly behind me. Okay, that's the second edition of the book. It's a hard copy. Yeah, it's not a paperback. It's not an ebook. It's a hard copy. And it includes everything that we've already taught. So many of the things that we have expanded into. And a lot of the things that I teach in the course that you don't get in the book is going to be in the second edition as well. Yeah, because we're expanding what I teach in the course. So the book is always going to be a supplement to what I teach in the course. And because of the suggestions of one of the corporations that we deal with, I don't know if I'll call the name. A. Wilson Enterprise is they're a strategic corporation, and they help you strategically plan for whatever event or upcoming growth that you have in your endeavors. Excellent strategists. Oh, their company is excellent. Got an excellent team of people. Well, one of them suggested to me that I accompany the course book, the guide, with a workbook. And so because of that conversation, we were already coming out with the second edition of the book. I keep pointing because I want to make sure you guys can see the image behind me of the hard copy book, the second edition. But now we're going to add to it a workbook, an actual workbook, so that when you go through, because in this book, Easy Corporate Comprehensive Curriculum for New Business Owners, it serves as a course guide and a workbook. And where the questions are, the answers are there too, so that you can choose multiple choice. And then we put the answer key somewhere near the question and answers, right? The multiple choice. We'll put the answer key somewhere near that. And what they suggested to me is that we can just create an entire workbook to supplement the guide, the book, the hard copy book, the course book, the course manual. And we have a separate workbook for that. I think it's going to be fascinating, and I'm really excited about it. You guys can look forward to it because it's going to be published very soon. And when I say very soon, I mean within the next 90 days. So once you prepare for it, as we begin to explode in your expansion and your growth.